Okay, we YouTubers aren't as out of touch as people think, right?
You can become a member of Watcher for $5.99 a month or $59.99 a year.
Oh, all right then, let's have a talk about the situation going on with the Watcher. So today I wanted to talk about what happened with the Watcher. Now, every other YouTuber who does commentary style videos has already really talked about this, and I'm like 3 days late to the party, but it worked in my favor because they made a follow-up and no one else covered it. But I want to explain what happened with the Watcher, how insane it is for them to ask what they asked for as a YouTuber, and how do people get that out of touch with their audience and what they have going on. Now, let me catch you up. The Watcher is a channel made up of former BuzzFeed guys. They used to create shows such as like Unsolved Mysteries, basically, where they would look at old mysteries and kind of go over them on their show. That's gotten super popular across like all of the internet. On top of that, they also made a few shows such as ghost hunting shows and stuff like that. They did very well with BuzzFeed, but as what happens with companies like BuzzFeed, certain people get famous and then realize they can make a lot more money if they just go off and do their own thing. Watcher was 3 of these guys. They went off and basically recreated all of their popular shows from BuzzFeed era, and then they went on to make this new channel with this type of content. And they made very high quality, very polished content. They put out a video recently in which they said goodbye to YouTube. The video plays out weird because they sit around and basically tell you about how much YouTube means to them, how much it means that they've made entire careers out of this, and how they really are going to miss YouTube. They then go on to explain that the reason they're leaving YouTube is they're having issues with advertisers, and we'll go into that in a minute. And that because they're having issues with advertisers, they think that they could create the same content behind a paywall. Now, this is where the problem came in. Watcher is a really successful channel. Looking at their channel briefly, they make 1 million to 4 million views a video, and they have, I think, like 1.5 million subscribers. They're a very successful channel. If I had a 1.5 million sub channel and 1 million views a video, we wouldn't make 900 extra channels. While I don't know their exact CPM or the exact logistics behind the scenes on their YouTube ad revenue, and I'll explain more of that in a second when I go into that portion of the video, I do know that they are probably making enough money to support a pretty good sizable staff. Now, they said their staff is 25 people. That does sound like it can get expensive, but they've also got a merch line and they've also got a Patreon. They have a Patreon that has over 12,000 people on it at various tiers from $1 to $5 to $20, meaning that that's taking in a good amount of steady income already. And then to make it all worse, what they basically came out and said was all content moving forward is now only going to be behind a $6 paywall. They also said that Patreons don't get access to that for free, but instead will get a discount. And on top of all of that, and I don't know how true this is, supposedly they were going to delist all of the old content so that you can only get it on the new platform. Basically, 3 guys from their mid to late 20s came out and told you, thank you for giving us a career, we're putting it behind a paywall now, which is just absurd on like a whole new level. I know a lot of YouTubers who get very, very full of themselves, but for these guys to basically come out and say goodbye to YouTube on top of everything going on in the real world as well is like insane. We're at a time of inflation where people just don't have any spare money to part with. But what made it worse was their attitude with it. If you watch this video, there's an air of pretentious about them, sitting there just explaining about how amazing all their projects are. And with a little bit more money, they can make them even better, even more large scale, more like a television production. So that's the situation. And if you watch any other YouTuber, they'll spend like way more time going in depth into all of the insanity of what the Watcher guys have done. Now, I waited. The community backlash was insane. There was not a single positive comment. Most of the comments were, I'm gonna stop watching you. I can't believe you guys are doing this. You're so full of yourselves. It boils down to everybody's favorite line that I think the Joker said, but you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. They literally became the thing that they had built the community against. So the community backlash was huge. They heard everyone. The entire internet community over the weekend made videos on this topic being like, these YouTubers are insane. These YouTubers just killed their career. These YouTubers are just stupid. And I waited to see what was gonna happen. And on Monday, because why would they work on the weekends? These guys are television producers, basically. On Monday, they released their response, where they basically backpedaled hard. All the shows are still going to be coming out on YouTube. It'll just go early to the other platform. They're going to be putting a bunch of stuff back on Patreon. Patrons also get free access to the new platform so that they continue to get early access. It's just a lot of stuff like that. Basically, completely backpedaling and apologizing. And I will say the apology was really good because they started out by stating, we messed up. We heard you. we're sorry. Which so many YouTuber apologies do not ever say the words I'm sorry because they don't want to admit that they had a problem. Now, what I want to talk about next is how did they get so delusional, like that they should go just continually ask for more money. But I see all the time YouTubers who just kind of get in their own heads and they get their own attitude. And it's the movie star lifestyle. It's a buddy put it best. It's the football player who just got a bunch of money and doesn't know what he's going to do with it. See, I started YouTube much later in my life than a lot of people nowadays. I did an entire 10-year career in the military. Before that was a manager at GameStop. Before that was a pizza delivery guy. I'm old is what I'm saying. But then I started YouTube. And I started YouTube as a fun hobby to do with my wife. My first YouTube channel was a gaming channel in which we named a series called He Said, She Said, and it was literally just me playing games and being me while she yells at me and nags me. That was the series, and that's how I got started on YouTube. And we did it for fun. As the money started to come in from me making the comic book channel, obviously my lifestyle changed. From being the medically retired military guy to kind of living a better life. I was able to eat better. I was able to focus on my health more. I was able to buy any video game that came out. But what I quickly noticed was I met a lot of people who were younger, a lot of people who were getting into YouTube straight out of high school, or they got famous from high school. This is before the era of TikTok. This is before the era of shorts, any kind of content that could instantly make you viral. This was an era where you would do vlogging or gaming or things like that. And what I quickly began to realize was I didn't want to work with anyone under the age of 25. Because when I started YouTube, if you were under the age of 25, you never worked a legit job. You didn't know what you had. You didn't know that you had a position where you could just sit at your house all day coming up with ideas and then make a video like this. That wasn't special to them. If you were over the age of 25, then you got a shit job like I did, and you realized how fortunate you are to have this situation. And that's what I realized when I started, because when you get into doing things like YouTube, TikTok, becoming a football star, or becoming a movie star, you end up creating an echo chamber where everyone tells you that you're amazing. And then you start blocking out the haters, as many people put out there. We're told in the YouTube space to just ignore the trolls, ignore the negative, ignore all the problems. If you have an audience, you're incredible. And the reason we're told that is because every executive wants a piece of the pie. I get emails on an every other day basis asking to join up with this program. They're gonna fund a bunch of money, and then they'll take my revenue, and things along those lines. Everyone is telling you on the business side that you're amazing and to ignore the haters. Then you go into your comments and you have people telling you that you did a great job, and you're told to ignore the problems. So unless it's a critique that you can actually use, you ignore the trolls and the problems, and you create this echo chamber that you're incredible. Now, I know a lot of YouTubers who started from normal jobs, and then as the money came in, they get very full of themselves with the money. And I'm not sitting here trying to like tell you guys that I'm the holy messiah and I'm perfect in every way. I know quite a few YouTubers who are down to earth, like I consider myself at times. And there's definitely moments where I get a little full of myself, okay? I made a whole channel called Benny Has a Problem. It's about me. Anyway, to bring this back around, I can understand how the Watcher guys got to where they are, because if you look at their history, because that video in which they thank YouTube is kind of telling, because they all talk about how they just wanted to get into movies or YouTube or content, that they didn't really work too many like out of the box jobs. They went kind of straight to this industry. They went straight to LA, where they worked at BuzzFeed. And I guarantee you, BuzzFeed kept telling them that they were amazing to try and keep them on the staff. Now, what I find to be the funniest part about this is the shows that they made are just their versions of television shows. A ghost hunting show that is crazy popular on like TLC or Discovery. Basically a channel that you would never think it should be popular on. I think it might be the History Channel, but it doesn't matter. They also made a show in which they tried food. Oh, here's the cheap version and the expensive version. They just took concepts that already existed, created shows around them, and then put their award-winning personalities onto it. And I will say award-winning. The internet loves them. They're not like people that everyone hates. Now, these business guys that send me emails all the time, I guarantee one of them got into their heads and said, oh, you guys are doing so amazing, just put it behind a paywall and you'll get even more money. But that's where they lost focus. That's where a lot of YouTubers lose focus, because you just start seeing the dollar sign and you don't start seeing the passion and the fun of the content you're making. It's the football star syndrome. You start to get a bunch of money and you start to just toot your own horn because you think you're amazing, and then it runs out and you don't know what you're going to do next. But that's pretty much it. I wanted to talk about the watcher situation because if I'm making a commentary channel, because I like to, peruse the internet and learn a bunch of weird things, I should jump on bandwagons that are happening. But I also wanted to talk about it from my point of view, how they got into this boat. And I actually applaud them for coming out with an apology and backpedaling as hard as they did. And their content is good. But would I pay $6 a month to watch only watcher content when I can pay like $15 a month to watch the entirety of Disney, Hulu, Netflix? No, Disney and Hulu are a package for like $15. Netflix is a package. Amazon Prime, I have like 80 extra channels on there, so I don't even know what I pay for that one at this point. It's one of those things you don't want to look at, and you just I don't know what I paid for. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. It's too much money for one thing. It's why I personally never did College Humor's Dropout. Dropout sounded like exactly what I wanted. College humor content, yada, yada, yada. But it's only College Humor content. So I was like, I think I'm good. Anyway, that's my opinion. Let me know what your opinion is down below. This is the first attempt at a true just jumping on what is happening as a trending topic thing here at this channel and me giving you my opinion. So let me know if you like this or if you just want me to go back to the more well-researched topics in general. We got one coming up real soon. Did you know people do weird stuff with dead bodies? Yeah, I found a lot of weird stuff. We're going to talk about that next.